How you doing, sir?
Just fine. And you?
I'm doing outstanding. Today's topic, stopping negative thinking and feeling good naturally.
We sit around and moan and groan and set ourselves up for all the problems of the world. And we do it ourselves. That's the thing that really needs to be understood. They themselves are makers of themselves. I just hope someone says, what did he say? I always hear that. What did he say? And actually, the thing of it is, I didn't say it really. It just came through me. But you have to understand that you're responsible to understand this for yourself. That's the only responsibility you have, is just to understand that you're in charge. So it's about time you take charge and order your conversations right, and then you'll be shown salvation. I mean, that sounds like an incentive to do so, doesn't it?
It does, and it allows us to step into today's topic, stopping negative thinking and feeling good naturally. You often say, that's what people want, to feel good. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you something. When I was given a revelation, I don't really remember any of it except a feeling of being one of everything in the world. It's so exhilarating that, but thing of it is, you get sucked back into the world so quickly, then it makes it hard to believe it even happened. Until it happens again. And then you really, really are excited because you're given choose this day. What are you choosing? Actually, you are choosing. Isn't that right?
We are.
Yeah, everybody is choosing. I mean, it was not a request. You're told that you're actually choosing this day. And whether you're aware of your choosing or not, but I assure you, and I'm sure DeCarlo will tell you too, it's better if you understand what you're thinking feelingly about. I mean, just thinking about all kinds of nonsense and not taking responsibility for it, that's foolishness. It really is. And I know it because I suffered it enough. And you do suffer it. But you have control if you'll take control. And that's the only difference that makes a difference. You're in charge, take charge. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You said earlier, when you first had your first revelation, you said it was wonderful. And you said the only thing that you can truly recall was how you felt. But then you were sucked back into the world. And let me touch on to that briefly. Being sucked back into the world is going back to old thinking, the old mindset. You get back off track and you start believing that the old reality is the only reality. Would you agree?
That's exactly it. And you do it to yourself. You're always doing to yourself. Do you like what you're doing for yourself in your thinking and feeling? If so, continue. Expand on it. And if you keep thinking upon it, it will expand naturally. But then again, negatives expand the same way. They will expand and expand as long as they have your attention. See, that's ego at work. And he's not even letting you in on what's happening. As long as he can keep you upset, off center, out of touch, whatever, he'll do so. And he'll take advantage of it. And don't mistake the fact that it's the you that you're actually at task to take on what's happening. You're doing everything in your world of experiencing. As a matter of fact, the whole vast world on the without is only the self being pushed out. And we're all pushing out. And that's what we got, a problem. Because we're not pushing together. We're not thinking together. We were just speaking about that, weren't we? About the monks that got together.
Absolutely. And how a group of monks and spiritual-minded people throughout the world begin to pray in accord, and how the crime rate had dropped down, almost 23%.
Yes. See? So it works. And people hear that it works. But for some reason, they don't believe that it means them. But let me put it this way. Every child born of woman makes it. How long, oh Lord, how long? Well, when you make up your mind to be the better that you have been thinking about being better, to be it. Not it. Now I'm not telling you to go out and do anything in the world of experiencing. But you will think feelingly about you having and doing and being your highest ideal. And actually, you are always your highest ideal. And if you're not happy with that, it's time for a change. And now is the appointed hour. Don't get carried away in thinking of weeks and months and what. Don't get carried away at that. It's always right now. It's always, now is the appointed hour of desired change. In other words, you either change now or never. Because it's always now. And you're the one who does the choosing. You were given by God, choose this day. What are you choosing? Because you are doing so. That is hard for people to understand, that they're actually doing their world of experiencing, thinking ahead of their evidence. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So if, of course, that thought is negative, then what you're creating and doing is those negative thoughts, those negative actions, those negative outcomes. You said something about, you said you're always thinking your highest ideal. And I want to add this. Even if your highest ideal at the moment is your lowest ideal, that's your highest ideal at the moment. Would you agree?
Sure. It didn't put any time frame on it. It said, as you think you are, isn't it? That's simple. What you're thinking, you will be experiencing if you keep thinking it. If you drop it, it's gone. But you have to drop it completely. And that's very difficult to do because it'll keep popping up. That also is you popping up. It's as you think you are. If you're choosing your thinking, we're assuming that if you're choosing it, you're choosing what you desire to think about. And that's what you're supposed to do. Think only on things that are lovely and of good report. That's what we're told. And think only on things that are lovely and of good report continuously. I know you're not aware all the time, but you'll get in the habit. If you'll do so often, you'll get in the habit of it. And praising God all the time, believe me, He deserves it, because He suffers with you, but you behold Him not. That's how close you are to God, one with Him. And He's allowed you to choose the path. Because He had to. It had to be a dream. It had to be a dream. And you're told to dream the dream. And you're told to dream it from a perspective of lovely and of good report. And you can do so because God told you to do so. And if He told you to do so, why would you even question it? And it is for everybody, every child born of woman. And no matter what seems to be happening, that's all it is. It just seems to be happening. But it's all in mind. The whole thing is a virtual reality. It isn't reality because reality is changeless. And everything around you is in the act of changing right at the very moment. You're always thinking ahead of your evidence. Remember that when you said it's a good thing to keep track of.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you had inquired earlier, do you like what's being manifested in your world? That's the question. If you're not happy with what it is that you're experiencing at the moment, then you have to begin changing thought, mindset about what it is that you're experiencing at the moment. Would you agree?
Yes. You know, I know it seems that we have a very small message because it is made the way it is to be simple enough that even I understood it. And I knew then that it was for everybody. And it is for you. It is for every child born of woman. And whether they hear it or not, nothing dies, nothing transforming in death. You may not even realize that you even died. And if you don't remember it, look, we're in charge of what we do, what we think, what we feel. If you're enjoying it, you're doing it right. If you're not enjoying it, well, think about it. I really think that if people would actually go in a quiet place, sit down, and really think about what you think about. And if that doesn't shock you, I don't know what will. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You know, you say go into a quiet place and contemplate what it is that you think about. And I would even add this, what it is you want to think about, because many of us are truly not thinking the thoughts that we want to think. We're thinking thoughts that we've been programmed to think our whole lives. And we think currently that that's the only reality. But imagine it was another reality that you could create by simply changing what it is that you think about.
Absolutely. That's what you're doing right now. You see, that's the thing. You're on all the time. And you are doing exactly what he was talking about all the time. But you're not recognizing what you're doing, or you would change it automatically. And everything is on automatic because you've already been told how it works, and it is on automatic. As you think you are. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. See, it's on automatic. You're in charge. Take charge. That's all there is to it. You take charge, or you're being charged by the world around you. It's that. Isn't it that simple?
It is that simple. And, you know, I was even thinking about the term being charged. We are certainly getting a voltage from the world around us. And you often say either become an actor or a reactor. But I would almost guarantee that probably 93% of the world's population are reactors to what's going on around them. Would you agree?
Yes, you're being generous.
I am.
Actually, I was so awed by how different a little change in thinking can cause in your world of experiencing. I was so awed by it. Every time I think about it, that all you have to do is just change your mind to change your world. And the thing of it is, changing your mind does change your world. So be careful what it is you're thinking about, because your world is always in detailed the same. Can't be otherwise, because subconscious mind only work is to build your world according to what you think and feel about you. So if I were you, I would have the highest measure to go on and find it in the silence. Because, look, that's where the magic is, in the stillness. And it is magic. It's like I said, it's on automatic. You can't lose if you approach it properly. See, as you believe, it is to you. If you approach it as a believer, you win. It's you. You did it for yourself. No one did it for you. You don't need anyone else to do it for you. The only thing you needed was to hear the information, and you just heard it. And wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You said, I was in awe at the little change of thinking that could transform one's world. It's so true that the slightest, the smallest, Jesus said it even this way: if you had faith as a grain of a mustard seed,
Yeah.
you could say to this mountain, be ye moved and be cast into the sea, and it will be done unto you. And it goes back to what you said, even the slightest change of belief
That's it.
transform an individual's world.
That's it. It is that simple. But as I've said, I know we're not paying attention all the time. I mean, it would be the more the better, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
So what you're doing is you're actually investing in yourself. When you go sit in a silence and you actually think about what you think about you, and there's no sense lying to yourself. You know, I did that for a long time, but it didn't produce anything. But if you tell the truth, if you really be truthful with yourself, you'll find exactly the right path to take for whatever you're doing. Because, you see, that's not Lindell promising you, that's God promising you. Do you believe God? Do you believe His promises? He made you promises. God made you promises. What do you think about them? Isn't that the question?
It is the question.
It's a simple question. What do you think about it? Or do you think about it?
You asked the question, do you think about it? Most people don't. And I like what you said moments ago. You said, if you approach your desire, if you approach life from belief of already having, already being that which you desire, is done.
Who are you asking? Who are you asking? God. And He told you to ask, didn't He? What are you asking? Because whatever you are asking, you are receiving. And if you're not happy with what you're receiving, there it is. Take a new route. You have choice to choose, and you have whatsoever to choose from. And it's already a finished deal if you have accepted it as so. And that's the prayer. When you say what you want, that's the end of it. Wanting. I am that. And if you can walk away in that feeling of I am that, it's yours. And God said, it is. So, I mean, why would you doubt it? If I was going to doubt something, I'd doubt myself. Wouldn't you?
Absolutely. And it goes back to what you said a second ago. You said, what is it that you think about you? Now, many of us don't even believe that that's important. But depending upon what it is that you think about you will determine your whole course in life. Would you agree?
That's it. In other words, you're making your future moment by moment, thought by thought ahead of your evidence. You're actually planning a future because as you think, you are. And as you are, you do, you have, you be. Look, this is repeated in different words here and there throughout all the way through Scripture. That it's what you do, what you think, what you feel, that's what's the most important to you. And about helping somebody else, if you can't help, how could you help somebody else if you can't even help yourself? Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we sit there and we're attempting to help someone else, we have to also look within. You know, they have a policy on airplanes. When they say in case of emergency, put on your own oxygen mask first before you assist someone else.
That's it.
Look at within yourself and say, okay, what changes do I need to make? And this is not striving for perfection, but just being open to the next thing or the next change that needs to happen in your life, because those who you're teaching will also find themselves open. If you find yourself closed, what you're going to do is find also those that you're trying to lead also are closed. And it's not going to open up until you open up. Would you agree?
That's it. And what it is that we are, in fact, thinking ahead of our evidence. And I know we repeat this because this is what really is important for you, because it's your message. You left this for yourself. You agreed to what you were to face as a thinking, feeling being in this play of humanity. This is the dream of God. There's only God. He's all things to all. How could he be all things to all without being the dreamer? Attitude awareness and imaginational control, that's your control. If you're controlling what you think about feelingly, and I say feelingly because the emotion, that's movement out from. In other words, you're making your world moment by moment by your thinking feelingly. And it actually is a moment by moment thing, although it may not be experienced it at the time you're thinking about it, but every vision has its appointed hour. And you're making vision after vision in your own mind about what? Is it lovely and of good report? Wonderful. But if it isn't, why isn't it? You're in charge, aren't you? That's the question, is it? Who's in charge? Or are you? What do you say?
Absolutely. I was sitting and I was listening to you and talking about vision. And it's funny, I really stumbled upon this stuff by accident, seemingly accident. I was in a portion, I was living in California, and within me was birthed the idea or the concept to move out to Atlanta. You know, I had heard a couple of people talking about it. I saw a couple of programs and so forth, and it was in my spirit to move from California to Atlanta. I didn't have the means to make that happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew in my spirit that I was going to move to Atlanta from California. Didn't know how it was going to happen. And what happened was a string of events lined up, and one of them came in the form of an accident. So most of us look at mishaps or what appears to be accidents, and we think that something bad is happening, but that accident turned into the seed money I needed to make the relocation from California to Atlanta. So some of you are experiencing something right now. and you're saying, I don't see how this can be good. Your job, your duty, your purpose is to see the end. My end was moving from California to Atlanta. Your end could be a relationship. It could be more money. It could be, a better relationship. It could be a better quality of health. Your job is to see the end. Would you agree?
Agree. And the word you said that everybody got to chill about was money.
Absolutely.
For some reason, they're saying God is withholding the money because it's better for you. That's nonsense. As you think, you are. And you're told that you receive not because you ask not, or that you're asking amiss. Now, in other words, if I tell you that your world is yourself pushed out, because that's what you're seeing in your vision, you as being that. But if you would change your vision as to what you see yourself, then you won't be that. You will be what you're seeing yourself as, the new person, the new man, whatever it is. It's whatsoever is the potential. God's not holding anything back from you. God's not depriving you of anything. He gave you choose this day. And you're about doing what? What is you're doing about? Because if you're experiencing it and you don't like it, then you must be doing it the wrong way. And there is a right way. And the right way is that you have to make a claim. See, praying is claiming. That's what you're there to do. You're claiming it. He says, you receive not because you ask not, or you're asking amiss. You're there telling God what you need, and is supposed to be there thanking God for what you have received, because it's all in mind first. Everything happens in your mind first. You're thinking about it first. And then it becomes your reality if you continue thinking about it, feeling about it, and walking around as though I am that. Whatever your dream's about, and you're told, dream the dream. And you're also told, when the people fail to dream, they start to die. And that what is starting to die? You start feeling bad. And you're told, be happy. So it must be something that you can do easily. Be happy. You're choosing to be or not. So it's a good idea you choose, isn't it?
It is. You said so much that I wanted to touch on in this brief communication. I love it. First of all, you said, if you're thinking that God is withholding something from you, that's nonsense. People hear what he just said. It's nonsense. When I believed that the only thing I could have was a economy car and I could only make a certain amount of money, the universe said, God said, whatever you call the eternal being said, be it unto you according to your faith. And of course, I started making just enough to get in an economy car and enough to get by with my bills. When my vision changed and I believed, when I started operating from I am that, he said it several times throughout this talk, I am that. When you begin walking in, I am that. It's not even an option. He said, claim it. When you're making a claim, you're making a decision. Decision is to cut off every other option other than what it is that you're claiming to be. I am that. What are you claiming to be, creators? Many of you are struggling, and you keep wondering why you're struggling with the same old things, because you've never made a decision and said, I am that. And I'm not talking of verbalization, but identifying yourself with the being that you want to be and letting no other decision reside as an option. Would you agree?
That's it. That's it. There you said it. Put it out there perfectly. That is simple enough, even I understand it. And believe me, it really had to be simple for me to understand it.